it comes. Oh my goodness. In your life have you seen anything like that? There it is. A win for the ages. Is it his time?
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Putting It Straight podcast, the podcast where we talk about everything golf. Alongside me this week, I've got Simon Dainter and Tom Palmer is back. How are we doing, lads? You okay?
Yeah, all good, mate.
Not too bad. Yeah. Have you come back and then you're going to go away to get that haircut finished, or?
Yeah, it's a lot. What do you reckon? Back and sides, John.
It's good to see you, mate.
The divot hair.
Getting close to your little beard going on as well here.
I like it, mate.
You look so good with the beard. I thought I'd try and copy.
I like it, mate.
I think Matt's still struggling to get a couple on there, isn't he?
That's never going to happen. There's nothing going on around here, lads. It's all here and here. That's it.
26 years of growth gone into that.
Not 28.
Oh, getting old.
I know, yeah. It's bad, isn't it? Not good at all.
It happens.
So, we had a really interesting event on the PGA Tour this week, or last week. So we had KH Lee earn his first victory, I believe, on the PGA Tour at the Byron Nelson Championship.
Yeah.
25 under par. Some golf.
Yeah, good
mate,
round.
He played. It's a good round, yeah. 25 under is a pretty decent.
Good round.
He played incredibly well. He was just a machine. Absolute machine.
Yeah. And I think it was impressive on the last day as well, after the rain delay, to come out and finish off the way he did was really impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, showed the maturity of someone who looked like he'd been on tour for years and had won multiple times. So it was very, very impressive. Great swing as well. We all love a swing on the podcast, don't we?
Well, we especially know that you enjoy a nice swing, so I'm sure that one was one for the golf swing fans, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Yeah, very good swing.
And on the topic of our picks, I don't think any of us really did that well. Tom, I think Cam Champ was 2 points, was he? Tied 55th. And I had Bryson. He was the same, I believe. Simon, do you want to talk about it, Si, or?
Not really. No. Let's just move on.
No, I don't.
I thought he was Mr. Consistent, wasn't he? I thought I got a bit cagey, Matt. Same as you, mate. Got a bit cagey. Thought I'd pick Mr. Consistent. And he just
wasn't quite as consistent, was he, this week?
Wasn't quite as consistent. No, not at all. He missed the cut by a little way.
Was it by, I didn't see what score he finished on. Did he? Was it not even close to making the cut?
I think he finished 2 under.
It was a low cut, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite a low cut. If you're going to finish the tournament on 25 under, I think that was sort of a mark of things to happen. Was the cut line being so low? Sure. Yeah, but no, so he didn't quite make it. He hadn't quite got his game this week, unfortunately. So a big fat -5 for me.
Oh, that's a big 7-point swing then between you and I.
Yeah, still ahead of Tom though. That's right. That's all.
I think he's catching up though, slowly.
Very slowly.
Very slowly.
Yeah,
I'll get there in another 40 weeks' time.
We'll see. I think that might be too short.
We'll see. The other thing I really wanted to mention was on the European Tour. It was nice to have a home event, the British Masters at the Belfry, obviously very close to where we're located in the Midlands, and just a brilliant story with Richard Bland, classic journeyman pro, 477 European Tour starts without a victory, and his 478th event finally manages to get a win after a playoff with Guido Migliozzi. just incredible. Do you like the pronunciation there
I'll
as well?
tell you what,
I
he's
was gonna
pulled that one out. He's been practicing that all day long. Getting this tonight.
I was so confused earlier when I saw him looking in the mirror going, Guido Migliozzi, Guido Migliozzi.
It all makes sense now, right?
It all makes sense. I'm dead impressed.
Thank you. But to be fair to him, I mean, what a brilliant story and what a way to finally get it. I mean, he holed a 35-foot birdie putt on 18 in
Yeah.
regulation to get into a playoff. I think he shot 66, bogey free in the final round. And then, managed to hold his nerve in the playoff to come through and win. It was really good to see the emotion at the end as well, because his long-time coach is actually Tim Barter, who works for Sky Sports, and he was there on the back of the 18th green after he won, and you could see how much it meant to both of them. I just wondered, Tom, I'll come to you first. You see a lot of guys come out on tour now and they're quite quick to get their first win and they kind of hit the ground running. For someone like Richard Bland, who's been on tour for, I think, over 25 years now, just talk about the mental strength that he must have to have just kept on believing that he could eventually get that win.
Yeah, it must be so hard, obviously, playing in all those competitions, seeing everyone, like, obviously win comps, and he's just never quite got it. And to be, I bet as well, he's probably thought about giving up a few times and probably calling it a day and stuff. But to finally get his win after all that time, I bet he's just absolutely buzzing when he got that. But it would be so difficult, wouldn't it? I mean, like, it'd be so hard. Really,
really hard. And I think, Simon, coming to you, he spoke in his interview about, I think, a couple of times in the last 10 years, he'd lost his European Tour card, gone back to the Challenge Tour, and then worked his way back. And he talked a lot about, he'd found it really hard, the fact that he hadn't been able to get the win, but he kind of felt deep down that he could still compete at this level, even at the age of 48, I think it is now. Yeah. That shows some real guts to be able to go down to the Challenge Tour, work his way back up, and still believe at the age of 48 that he could compete at that level.
Yeah, that's proper resilience, that is. You've got to believe in yourself. After that amount of time on tour playing against those players, I mean, he's a pretty well-known name, I'd say. Quite a lot of people know him. He's had quite a few close shaves, really, but never quite got over the line. So he knows that he's got talent, and everybody else knows that he's got talent. And so I think it was sort of nice for everyone, really, to see him get that win. It felt well-deserved. And the emotion that you could see from Tim Barter at the end there, he was almost welling up. It sounded like it was tough for him to speak. So it's obviously quite a long journey that they've gone on together. It was really, really nice to see him get across the line.
Yeah, they were both really choked up at the back of the 18th.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a struggle to get through that interview for him. I think Richard Bland said, God, this is going to be hard. And that's just, they've worked together for so long. So for it to all finally come together and get that win together is just, I just thought it was one of the best kind of golfing stories of this season so far. It was just really,
Did you see as well that Fred Couples tweeted out? Freddie Couples said that. Yeah, Freddie Couples tweeted out, said that he's just watched something that absolutely inspired him. Richard Bland inspiring Fred Couples.
Now there's a story.
Pretty good story, that, isn't it?
I saw the local guy, Richard Mansell, was doing well, weren't he?
Yeah.
He was really good to see, and he's had a few good weeks out in Gran Canaria. I think he was up 2 shots off the lead, I think, going into the final round in Tenerife last week. Didn't quite manage to get the win, but he's shown some really good form, which is really good to see. I mean, I think we all kind of know Rich personally, and just great lad, works really hard. So it's nice to see him start to find his feet on the European Tour. And I think Richie is a confidence player. When he gets confident, he will always play well. So I'm going to go out there and say I think he'll get a win this year on the European Tour. I really do.
I hope that he does. It would be nice. I'd love to sort of argue with you, but it would just be really, really nice to see him win, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Now, something that I found quite interesting when you're looking at the two events that we've had last week on the PGA Tour and the European Tour, winning score was very different
Yeah.
in each event. Scoring at the Belfry was a little tougher. Golf course was playing quite long, weren't much around the fairways, which kept scoring down a little bit. And then on the flip side, you saw a complete birdie fest on the PGA Tour. And it got me thinking, I wanted to ask you both, what do you prefer when you're watching a golf event? Do you want to see, something in the 20 under par region win a tournament with lots of birdies? Or do you prefer to see a tougher test of golf where there's a bit more of a premium on maybe ball striking and really grinding out a score? So you might only have single digits under par winning. Which of those kind of scenarios do you prefer? Simon, I'll come to you first.
I think it's sort of a mixture of both. Like, I love watching the US Open when they're struggling to break par. I think it's almost refreshing to see these players really, really struggle. And of course, set up so hard that it shows that they can still sort of be beaten by the golf course. But at the same time, who doesn't love to see low scores like 59s? Like, I would love to see someone shoot, a 72 hole course record or something really, really low, have a bunch of birdies and just absolutely go for it. I think it's difficult. I think the majors, yes, I agree. I would rather them not be a birdie fest. I think that's when the courses become prominent and the courses should win. But otherwise, let's make it enjoyable to watch. Let's see a load of birdies going in, some eagles here and there, drivable par fours. Let's just make it fun to watch for people.
Yeah, and I'd probably say the only exception with the major scenario is probably the Masters at Augusta. Obviously, it is a really tough test of golf, but particularly on a Sunday, the atmosphere of the Masters is made by people making that back nine charge with birdies and eagles. So the Masters relies a little bit more on lower scoring to create that atmosphere, I would say, but certainly the other three, you want to see a really tough test of golf. Tom, do you agree? Are you a
make it as hard as possible? Make it as hard as possible every week. I want to see people shooting 10 over is the winning score.
Do you?
Yeah.
You literally changed like a light bulb. It's ridiculous. Literally 5 seconds before we've come on there, we've had a little chat about it, and he's gone, 25 under. Love to see it. Fantastic. We've just seen the question. Nah, as hard as we can get.
Make it as hard as you can. I want fairways that are just covered in water, and then there's just like a little landing spot, and then that's where you got to try and hit your ball. Be great fun. Do you know what I mean? If there were just like little dotted spots that you got to try and hit. Obviously, make more features. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like more features everywhere. Long grass up there. It'd be way more enjoyable to watch, wouldn't it? Him just hacking it round all the way around.
It would probably be a little bit more relatable for.
That's what I mean.
A lot of people watching at home.
Exactly. I think that would be a lot more fun then.
It would be fun to
actually get involved in that a bit more. It'd be great to watch.
Yeah, I think I sit somewhere in the middle. Really, I think there's definitely a place for some events where scoring is really good, because I think for a lot of people watching, that creates excitement and they want to see birdies and eagles. So I understand that is definitely always going to be there. For me, I would like to see a few more events that are a real tough test. I really enjoy watching the Open Championship on a real tough links golf course where there's a real penalty for missing the fairway, and you've got the wind elements and all that kind of stuff, and it's a real grind for them. And you see players go to some places where they don't really want to go. They're out of their comfort zone. They're having to grind really hard, and I enjoy seeing that. And I think sometimes it just gets a bit boring week after week. 21 under wins, 25 under wins, 18 under wins. It's a bit samey. So
do you think then that these ones like US Open, Open Championship are a fairer test of golf for people? Do you think that, like, So, for example, if like 25 unders winning, there's normally quite a few decent scores. But do you think that sometimes players can maybe just not have their putting on and maybe miss a few putts and when it's vital that they're making everything? Whereas you think on the really, really tough times when the wind's howling, the course is really tough, the best player overall comes out on top. Do you think it's a fairer test of golf?
I think so. I think what it does is on those weeks when it's a real tough test, I think that the winner will have had a very complete game that week. They will have done everything pretty well. The danger when you've got these really low scores all the time and you've got 25 under win, I think sometimes it almost looks like it becomes a mixture of a long drive contest followed by a putting contest because there's no real penalty for hitting the ball. So they can hit it anywhere off the tee. So it's just get the ball on the green and then who's going to hold the most putts that week.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. And I think that then becomes a little bit boring. So technically speaking, you could have somebody do a couple of things in their game pretty poorly, but if they're bombing it and they're putting well, chances are they're going to be up there.
Yeah.
Whereas in a real tough week, every aspect of their game is going to get tested in that week. When the wind's up, they've got to control their ball flight. They've got to hit different types of iron shots. Short game is going to be good because they're going to miss greens. They're going to have to hold some putts, and then it puts pressure on their driving as well because they've got to get the ball in play. So I think that's the point. I think I'd rather see a more complete test of golf. We're talking about the best players in the world here. We don't need scoreable golf courses for them.
No, they don't need their egos massaging, do they?
No. And let's be fair. I'm sure that some of these golf courses where they're shooting these really low scores, I'm sure they are relatively tough. But I think sometimes the way that they're set up for tournaments, they're just going to eat them alive. It's not a test for them. It doesn't test their whole game. So I think that's where I'd kind of sit on it. Tom, do you agree?
Thick or rough, more water. Make it hard. Let's start to see what's going on, where the real players are at.
Oh, in-depth analysis by Tom Palmer.
There we are.
There is a place for it. There is a place for it, though. I mean, how cool would it be to see 5 over par win a tournament?
Do you imagine if there was one course that was just like outrageous and it was like the dreaded course that you had to go to, and it was just one event in the year that you just think, oh man,
that would be good. That would be really good. I bet you'd have a load of people tuning in to watch it.
That's what I mean. Instead of just seeing everyone just bomb the ball 350 yards. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
you've changed. Tom has changed during the length of this podcast.
I mean? You don't want to just bomb the ball everywhere. Keep it in play. Do you know what I mean? It's not all about distance.
What has happened to you?
Who are you? What have you done with Tom?
Let's bomb it. Let's get the drive. Oh, it should be like drive. You have to drive it over 350 to clear the water. And then obviously you start seeing some people really try and add some speed in. Make it a bit more interesting.
Oh my gosh.
But I think the point is, though, and being semi-serious now, is it doesn't have to be a birdie fest to be exciting for people at home.
No.
And I think that sometimes people have the perception that it's only exciting if they're making birdies. I don't know if you agree with that.
It is exciting when people are making birdies and eagles.
Yeah, of course.
I much prefer watching Tiger get a 10 on a par 3, though.
Exactly. I literally just thought about that. Yeah. All right. Tiger's 10 on a par 3 or Louis Oosthuizen's Albatross.
Oh.
There you go.
The Albatross was good, though.
It was good. Great swing as well.
But do you know what I mean? In terms of watching it, like, you'll have to relate because a par 3, Tiger Woods crumble. You could almost relate to that being in your own golf game. But do you know what I mean? Like,
if he's made a 10,
realistic,
what would we have made?
No, I wouldn't mind 7.
What would you have done differently?
Hit the green. Hit
the green on one footed.
Oh god! What club are you hitting on that par 3? By the way, What's your shot? Are you taking a flag on a Sunday on the right, or are you just
Yeah.
going
Straight
over
over.
the middle of the bunker?
You see, the problem is, Tom, is that green sat sideways, isn't it, mate? So what you need to do really is aim 120 yards left, take out driver, and hit 100-yard slice, and then you get it landing into the green the right direction, don't
I
you?
like it.
That's
I'd
it.
be fine on that. I'd be fine on that hole.
Yeah, you watch next year's Masters.
Little left to right. Little cut.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're all going to take advice from you. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Right, Simon. Have we got a swing review this week?
We have, yeah, we have. I'm actually going to keep it quite simple, to be fair, because it's a really good swing. I've been told that he's only playing for a year, but he misses all of his shots right. And there's one thing that I'd really sort of change. For only playing for about a year, it is seriously, seriously good. So if we sort of run through it, you can see he's got quite a lot of knee flex. I'll try and straighten those out a little bit. And then as he goes back, he gets that club face a little bit strong on the way back. Sorry, I skipped ahead a fraction there. So he gets that club face a little bit strong. And then as you see, as he starts to turn up, he's still got a load of flex in that trail knee. And then you'll see that has a little bit of a knock-on effect for his hips. So from here then, his arms sort of have to lift. His hips have stopped turning completely. His shoulders have stopped turning. And so his arms get a little bit trapped. And then once he gets up to the top, he's got not much hip turn at all. I'd like to see him straighten out that right leg and free up those hips a bit. And then you can see from there, from the top, because he's got that lack of hip turn, as he starts to turn down, what happens is that club starts to get out in front of him. You can see there, his grip's a little bit strong. You can see that club face is a little bit strong in comparison to his wrist. And then as he goes down, you can see now that club's starting to come over because those hips have been restricted against his top half. And this is where that slice is coming from. So the path is a little bit out to in. And then from there, he's going to struggle controlling that club face. And you can see as he comes down, that club face is a fraction open to what we'd want it. We want it more on his spine angle, sort of a little bit stronger position in that sort of angle there. So as he comes through, he gets his weight onto his lead side. Lovely. Lovely passive finish. And you can see this is probably contributing to that slice. He's holding that face off really, really well. So if he had his face in a stronger position, it'd be hitting some functional golf shots. But other than that, great swing. So free up that right leg, let that right leg straighten, a little bit more hip turn, give yourself some more room in the backswing, and you're good to go. Good swing though for a year. Very, very good swing.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw this swing for the first time, I'd read the kind of comments above it, I thought that's not the swing of somebody that's been playing a year. I was really impressed. So
exactly.
no, lovely review there, Simon. Like that.
Thanks.
So if we move swiftly on, we are in major championship week this week. So we've got the US PGA Championship back at Kiowa Island for the first time since 2012 when McIlroy got his victory there by 8 strokes, which was a record. Biggest winning margin at a US PGA Championship. So, Tom, who are we going for?
I'm going for Rory McIlroy. No, I'm joking. I knew Matt had picked him. I'm going for Jordan Spieth.
Wow.
You have literally seen Matt's bowels drop out there.
Yeah, Jordan.
I thought he's not going to do me dirty like this. He can't.
So good.
Wow.
No,
Well,
Jordan.
I mean, as you may have then guessed, I am going to go for McIlroy. The fact that he's got his win this year, he's back on form, he's won at Kiowa, good vibes. I'm thinking it's going to be another good week for him. Simon, who are you backing?
I'm going back down under. I'm going back for Mark Leishman. Great run of form.
You love a bit of Mark.
Loves a
Leishman,
little
don't you?
Mark.
He's such a good player, mate. Terrific player. But yeah, he controls his ball well. Needs to be able to control your ball flight around there on a good run of form. I think he could do well.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a really interesting week. I mean, that par 3, is it par 3 17th or 16th? It's like 230 yards over water, wind into and out the left-hand side. Just horrible. Disgusting.
That sounds like Tom's golf course that he was trying to create.
It needs more water.
It does.
It needs more water. There's only an island, bro, surrounded by
You need
water.
like wind turbulators as well going around just to blow more wind.
Yes. Now that I can get on board with.
Artificial
Yeah,
I'm down for
climate.
that. Yes,
Create some
Love it.
seriously really cool.
100%. Love it. No, I think
Fantastic.
it's going to be a really interesting event. It'll be interesting to see what the scoring's like. If the wind gets up, then it'll play really, really tough. But obviously, McElroy did show us that you can get a score around there. So we'll see what happens with the weather and see what that does to the scoring.
Yeah.
Now, before we go and end this episode, unfortunately, it is time to say goodbye to one of my co-hosts. He is leaving us. Tom, it's been a pleasure. It's been emotional. Have you got any final words before you disappear?
Love everyone. Love you. No, but it's one. I'll still be back. I'll still be back and make a few episodes. I'll still pop in and see everybody on the pod. I think it'd be nice to.
Oh no! Once you're gone, that's it. You're not coming back.
That's it. I'm not allowed back on. I'll see how
No. You're dead to me.
Oh, we need a little Tom montage, don't we? That's what we need.
We do a little Tom's best bits.
Oh,
Tom's
God.
best
Oh,
moments.
God. But no, I really enjoyed it, lads. So thanks for having me on the pod.
No, not a problem.
No, thank you for doing it. I mean, this was a lockdown project that's kind of just carried on, and obviously it's become a bit more difficult to carry on doing these since we've all been back at work. So these are it's difficult times, but maybe once we get towards the end of the season, Tom, and things are quieting down over the winter.
I think as well, especially coming up to like the winter period and stuff like that. 100% be back on the pod. Obviously, summer's just a bit crazy at the moment, isn't it, with everything going on?
Yeah, you're
but
busy, lad.
Hopefully, when obviously winter comes, everything calms down a little bit. I'll get an invite back to the pod.
It could be seasonal.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, one of them. If you want to invite me, then I'll be back. But
yeah, it's been a pleasure, mate.
No, it has been a pleasure. I mean, me and Simon will try and keep things rolling until you make a return. It's one of those we've put a lot of effort into it, so we want to continue to keep doing these podcasts.
I'll put the advert out for the
on
new
that
co-host.
note. Yes, please.
Yeah,
if anybody wants to get involved, then send your application forms in.
What's the email, Tom, for them to send their applications in?
Putting it straight at putting it. I forgot it.
No.
Putting it straight at gmail.com.
Podcast.
Putting it straight podcast
Putting it straight
at gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
I missed a week and I forgot it.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Well, look, we really hope you've enjoyed this episode. Like we always say, if you've enjoyed the podcast, then give us a like and hit that subscribe button. You can find us on our social media platforms on Instagram and Twitter. Search for the handle at Put It Straight. And as Tom mentioned, our email address is puttingitstraightpodcast@gmail.com. So thank you very much for watching. It was a little bit, I was like, oh, I forgot it. But yeah, we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Here it comes. Oh my goodness. In your life have you seen anything like that? There it is.